Alright, so Xfinity playoffs have finally begun. I don't know why it took them that long to begin with. I am of the opinion that, once again, that NASCAR should just begin the playoffs in the same week if they're gonna keep up with this, because it's just so hard to keep up. Anyways, Xfinity had a few surprises, even though this is like the easiest series to predict. Which is ironic because they also bring the best racing, but at the end of it all, the playoffs are just, when it boils down to it, the playoffs are just in large part easier to predict. It's like, nah, and even the quote-unquote surprises that managed to be there is just one guy just making it into one round further. You never see a guy who you expect to be eliminated in the round of 12 make it all the way to the championship 4, but anyways. We had a few surprises. Jeremy Clements, clutch win at Daytona to sneak in, to make it into the playoffs, and then Ryan Sieg, after a mechanical failure, took out Landon Castle at Bristol. He just barely squeaks in as the final guy in the playoff. So, anyways, let's just get right into it. Round of 12, this is like the wild card round. Vegas, not really Vegas, Texas. Talladega, Charlotte Roval. Jeremy Clements is gonna be out. Even if he has like a few, even if Talladega is in this round, even if the Charlotte Roval is in this round, he's gonna need a lot of help, like guys taking each other out. And to be fair, anybody, now that I think about it, anybody could make it into the round of 8 because Talladega and the Charlotte Roval are like in the same round. But as easy as you could make it, as easily you could get eliminated. And Clements, even with those 5 extra points that he got from winning the race, he enters the playoffs above the cut line technically because he is like the 8th seed. But I'm not expecting much from him. He could maybe shoot for a top 10 or maybe top 5 at Talladega, but I don't know if even that's gonna help him. He's gonna need some help at Texas and the Roval for him to advance. Ryan Sieg, he's kind of in the same boat. I say kind of because overall, even though he doesn't have the playoff points that Clements has or the wins that Clements has, he does have, he's had a better performance this season, while Clements usually finishes like top 20. Ryan Sieg, he can finish like top 15, top 10. So I believe gives Ryan Sieg a better chance of advancing into the next round than Clements is, but at the same time, when you just look at the playoff field, it's just so top heavy overall. It's gonna take one of those guys like a Brandon Jones or Sam Mayer to have like a bad round of 12 for them to even have a chance of stealing a spot away from one of these big guys. Daniel Hamrick, defending series champion. One of the biggest surprises this season, in my opinion, is that Hamrick just didn't look like a defending series champion. Usually Hamrick, he is like a model of consistency, scoring top 5s and top 10s, and even though he doesn't win a race, he locks himself into the playoffs. He has like a 200, 300 point lead. He manages to lock himself into the playoffs long before the final race of the season. He actually had to wait until the final race of the season because he just had a bad summer stretch, and overall, just his performance, it just never took off with Collie. Honestly, it has been a disappointment, and some of that has been Collie just putting more of their resources into the Cup program. That and the fact that Allmendinger has been basically carrying their entire Xfinity program. Hell, even Landon Castle finished the playoffs because of a mechanical failure on his car. That should tell you just how bad the situation over at Collie is, at least in the Xfinity series. Now, just like Ryan Sieg, Hamrick has a good chance of making it into round of 8, but he is gonna need some help because on his own, I don't know if he's gonna be able to. And the last driver that got eliminated, it's basically a toss-up between either Sam Mayer or Riley Herbst. I'm gonna say Herbst gets eliminated in the round of 12 simply because Sam Mayer, he has been closer to scoring that first win than Herbst has. He's had a handful more top 5s, and and he's got like a few more races where you feel like Mayer could win a race, whereas Herbst, he's been solid, he's been low-key consistent. People are not gonna tell you that though, because they're just on this convinced that everyone hates Herbst. But Riley Herbst has improved. I'm gonna give him credit where credit is due. He has definitely improved. He still hasn't scored a win though, so because of that I cannot take him seriously. But Sam Mayer compared to Herbst, Mayer has been closer to scoring that first career win than Herbst, and I believe he's going to just barely sneak into round of 8 over him, and then he's gonna get eliminated, because round of 8 is Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. This is where really the cream of the crop really rises, because Vegas and Homestead are two 1.5 mile tracks. Martinsville, a short track. I do believe some tempers may flare, but by that point I think some of the big guys may have clinched their spot in the playoffs. Brandon Jones, I don't think the Martinsville, the scenario that led him to him winning Martinsville in the spring is gonna repeat itself. That took a very specific set of circumstances. I don't know if he's gonna find himself in that position to steal a win again. And once again, also the threat that since he is on his way out, and you know how Joe Gibbs treated Kyle Busch after the announcement that he was going to Richard Childress Racing. You know how that whole situation went down. I don't know if I don't know how Brandon Jones will perform. For all we know, Joe Gibbs might give him the scraps and he might be eliminating the first round like Kyle Busch did, because you know that's just how Joe Gibbs works. That's just how Toyota works as a whole. So I'm definitely rooting for Brandon Jones for him to not have a bad playoff run. But at the same time, I don't think he's gonna make it to the championship 4. I just want him to make it out of the round of 12. I just want him to make it out of the first round. That will be enough, especially since you know how Gibbs treats his guys when they're in their final season. I really hope Brandon Jones just has a solid playoff run. Austin Hill, he is a pretty interesting case. He is a dark horse. He is my dark horse pick to like make it to the championship 4. Like him and Josh Berry, they're largely on the same boat. These two guys are my dark horse picks to one of them could make it into the championship 4. Of course, Josh Berry, he has really shown that on the intermediate tracks like Charlotte, Las Vegas, he has really shown that he can hold its own. And also the same round of 8, it's Martinsville. You know, round of 12, I think they're both gonna advance pretty comfortably. You know, Austin Hill has Talladega for him to fall back on, and Josh Berry is just solid overall. In that, I don't think he's going to struggle that much in the round of 12. In the round of 8, however, Austin Hill, he really struggles at short track, so I don't know. I think that could be his Achilles heel once again. That could rear his ugly head. But at the same time, if he wins Talladega, he could carry on that momentum, and maybe with some help, he could make it to the championship 4. I don't know. Meanwhile, Josh Berry, a short track ace at Martinsville, and he has also shown that he can win, like Vegas and Charlotte. He has won races there. And Dover, even though I do not consider Dover a true intermediate track, you race it like it's an intermediate track. It's like a bigger Bristol. And Berry has shown that he's capable of winning at both short tracks and also intermediate. So I will watch out more for Berry than for Austin Hill, simply because Austin Hill, he struggles at short tracks, and we know how many times he has been screwed over in the Truck Series by, you know, Martinsville in 2020, Bristol last season. So I don't know, that basically his Achilles heel, but everywhere else he is pretty good. Josh Berry, again, I don't know, because if it wasn't for the championship 4 being so stacked, I feel he could sneak his way into the championship 4, but again, I just don't think it's gonna happen. Championship 4, Allmendinger, regular season champion, Ty Gibbs, Noah Braxton, two guys that got pissed off a lot of people, but have also amassed a massive amounts of playoff points. And Allgaier, ever the steady bridesmaid, like I like to call it. Yeah, I feel like this championship 4 is pretty much straightforward. The 4 best drivers of this season, in my opinion. I don't think some crazy stuff is gonna happen. I think all of these guys, even if they don't win, any of these races, which I find it really unlikely because I think these guys are gonna win most of the playoff races. I feel like it. But yeah, I'm pretty confident this is gonna be the championship 4. You could maybe replace Allgaier for maybe Josh Berry, but that's about it. I'm pretty confident that these guys will be championship 4 material. Now, of course, Ty Gibbs and Noah Braxton, they got pissed off a lot of people. And you know what they say, like they're waiting for the playoffs to, all of these guys are waiting for the playoffs to unleash hell on earth upon these guys. And again, you may have a point. I think these two guys, they're gonna face a lot of adversity to make it to the championship 4. But at the same time, I also believe, if you saw what happened with Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin over back at Pocono, you would know that, yeah, maybe one person's gonna say, yeah, I'm waiting until the playoffs to retaliate. But once the playoffs begin, that opportunity may never come around because revenge, it's not just about, you know, saying that you're gonna retaliate at this point in time. It's also about, you know, about timing because, you know, you may wait until the right opportunity on the right race to, you know, try to mess him up. But what if that opportunity never comes? You know what I mean? When Denny Hamlin retaliated against Ross Chastain, it was because he had an opportunity. Yeah, it wasn't in the playoffs, but he had an opportunity and he took it. Same thing goes for, you know, maybe Ryan Sieg on Ty Gibbs, or maybe, you know, Sage Karam or Sheldon Creed on Noah Braxton. I don't know. But these guys, they're going to retaliate. You never know when they will, you know, retaliate. But at the same time, that's the thing that makes me feel like they're going to be fine. Because the thing is, Noah Braxton and Ty Gibbs, they enter as the top 2 seeds in these playoffs. They have a massive playoff points, and I think that's going to save them. It's going to take more than just one guy retaliating and ending their race and ending their playoff bid, one playoff race early for them to retaliate. They're going to have to... everyone in the garage is going to have to team up to take these two down if they want them to miss the championship 4. It's not going to be, sure, it's not going to be easy, and at the end of it all, everyone is going to be running their own race in the end. They're not going to care about, you know, retaliating against these two guys. So at the end of the day, yeah, they're going to face adversity. They're going to piss off some people along the way, but I feel Ty Gibbs and Noah Braxton, they're going to be safe all the way up until Phoenix. And then they're gonna take each other out, and Allmendinger's gonna win the championship. No, I'm just kidding. Allmendinger, regular season title. He has carried Kaulig, is the regular season champion. He has carried Kaulig the entire Kaulig's entire Xfinity program. And again, Allgaier, always the steady bridesmaid. He has always been like in position to make it to the championship 4, or making it to the championship 4 and never winning the title. He's like the Denny Hamlin of Xfinity at this point. But yeah, as for who the champion will be, Allmendinger, you know, he really struggles at Phoenix. So Allmendinger, he really struggles at Phoenix, and you know, Allgaier, so he's definitely out. Unless he surprises a lot of people, but I don't think that's going to happen. Ty Gibbs, Braxton, Allgaier, I think it's going to be one of those 3 who wins the title. Allgaier, his chances of winning a title, you know, are slipping away. His best chances were like 2018 and 2020. And now Braxton, he has emerged as a top dog in JR Motorsport, so unless something happens to Braxton and Allgaier takes over, I don't think he will. And even if Allgaier does, I don't know, will he be able to beat that 54? I don't know. You know, I'm giving Braxton a better chance to beat Ty Gibbs than the 7 car. So, yeah, it's gonna come down to these two. The 2 guys that got pissed off a lot of people, I think it's gonna be one of these 2 that's gonna win the title. And I know I said in my playoff predictions back in the Cup Series that I think Hamlin and Chastain, they're gonna take each other out and neither of them will make the championship 4. And many people would say, Why am I pumping the brakes on this one? Why am I not saying the same thing about Noah Braxton and Ty Gibbs? And it's because they have a huge amount of playoff points, and it's also because they are the top dogs in this in Xfinity. Because in the Cup Series, Hamlin and Chastain, they're not the top dog in the Cup Series. In Xfinity, Ty Gibbs and Braxton, they are the two best drivers, in my opinion, in Xfinity. So even if somebody retaliates, they're still going to be fine, and they still have enough playoff points to fall back on to make it to the championship for. Sure, they're going to piss a lot of people, and they're going to piss each other off along the way too. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to these two. And it's also going to come down to experience, which is why I believe Braxton is going to be the champion. That and the fact that, you know, he's driving the 9 car, and you know, then the JR Motorsports 9 car's legacy. Every driver that has stepped in on that car has gone on to become a champion and moved out to the Cup Series. You know, Chase Elliott became a champion on that car. William Byron became a champion on the 9 car. Tyler Reddick. Now it's Braxton's turn. This has been 4 years in the making. This has been 4 years in the making, and you can make a case that Braxton has been like the most successful driver of the 9 car simply because of the sheer volume of races he has run. I wouldn't go that far. I'm not gonna consider him the best driver in the JRM 9 car until he wins the title, though. But you know, by sheer volume of starts and the fact that he has won like he has 10 career wins, all coming in the 9 car in Xfinity, it definitely has a case. But again, he needs the championship to validate my point. So with him moving on to the Cup Series and him like having been on fire to close out the regular season, it's gonna take more than just one angry guy, than just a couple of angry drivers to slow him down. I'm pretty sure of that. So yeah, this is pretty easy. This was pretty easy. I'm pretty convinced that this is how the playoffs are gonna go, or more or less. Again, I may be wrong. I'm always wrong. Who knows?